Welcome. Welcome to Community of Christ with the Shenandoah Congregation in San Antonio, Texas. Community of Christ is a welcoming and loving faith community. We proclaim Jesus Christ and promote communities of joy, hope, love, and peace. Please take a moment and like our video, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss anything, and comment to tell us where you are joining us from. Keep our contact details and share with us how we can minister to your needs. Find more information at www.seaofchristsa.org. If you would like to view past services, follow this link on our website. We welcome you, we acknowledge you, and we love you. Shalom.
So I don't know if you want for inviting me today, Earl. Thank you for the invitation. It's been wonderful to be with you today to celebrate this significant milestone for the congregation. Your space is beautiful. It's bright. It's relational. It's welcoming. It's everything I would expect to find in a Community of Christ congregation. So anyway, thank you so much. I celebrate with you. Maybe even more than celebrating paying off the building, which is great. I celebrate the mysteries that are taking place here because of this wonderful space that you have to offer the community. And I just hope we can continue to expand the opportunities for the community to see this as a center for gathering, for spiritual renewal, for making the world a better place. So we gather today in the peace of Jesus Christ, and it's a peace that defies description. And yet, I think most of us would probably say that we sense its presence with us in really every moment and every place of our lives. A relational impulse that was present at the dawn of creation as the Spirit hovered over the face of the waters, we're told in Genesis, weaving connectedness and meaning into the randomness and beauty, diversity, and order of creation. Now, I suppose we could probably stop right there and just immerse ourselves in the wonder of God's generous grace and love and just call it good. And as a kid growing up on the west side of Cleveland, I would have inwardly cheered such a suggestion. But we need to go just a little bit further because we find ourselves at a pivotal juncture in human history. We find ourselves possessing the capacity to lean into the transforming power of love and interdependence as the path to the future, or succumb to the voices of fear and division that lead to actions that will have devastating consequences for all life on our planet. From Exploring Community of Christ's Beliefs, a commentary, we read these words: the creation itself, in all its abundance and diversity, reflects the bounty of God's love. Divine love then calls us to be in a healthy relationship with the world, not a hierarchical one. As imitators of God, we must generously care for all that exists. You know, I really believe there is this divine convergence. I actually love that phrase. There's this divine convergence of knowledge occurring in our world as Revelation's light inspires the scientists' search for a unified theory explaining the origins and expansion of the universe, the theologians' relentless pursuit of the deeper meaning of incarnation or God with us, the artist's expression in melody and physical form, bearing witness to the creative impulse, connecting meaning to our shared experiences together. The interconnected nature of reality can be observed in many different areas of science, including physics and biology and ecology. For example, in physics, the principles of quantum mechanics and the theory of general relativity demonstrate that particles and forces are interconnected at the subatomic level, which we cannot even see. And if you ask me any more about it than that, I will not be able to help you. It is also experienced in a beautiful painting of a grove of aspens that we have hanging in our living room, painted by Jan Marie, that we encountered through an unexpected conversation and relationship. An artist who focuses on the interconnected nature of creation. Theologian and writer Sally McFay, in her pursuit of the deeper meaning of the incarnation or God with us, offers these insights. Incarnation, the belief that God is with us here on this earth, goes beyond Jesus of Nazareth to include all matter. God is incarnated in the world. This suggests that God is closer to us than we are to ourselves. For God is the breath or spirit that gives life to the billions of different bodies that make up God's body. But God is also the source, power, and goal of everything that is, for the creation utterly depends on God, scientifically and theologically. We gain momentary glimpses of this from time to time, where the profound reality of our interconnectedness and place in the whole of God's marvelous creation breaks through, and we find ourselves immersed in the mystery and wonder and sacredness of it all. And our hearts swell with the psalmist who proclaims in Psalm 139, "Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence?" This divine source of interconnectedness and beauty I felt many years ago as I stood with my 2-year-old daughter, Katie, in my arms, and together we reverently took in the beauty of a sunset. We called it the lake, but it was really a pond at our campgrounds in southern Indiana. And I remember those moments as though they were yesterday, being flooded, overwhelmed with a presence beyond us and yet deeply within us. And that same relational impulse that was present at the dawn of creation was present with us in that moment. And together in the quiet of those sacred moments together, she was 2 and I was, 25 or 26. Somehow we knew together something significant had just taken place. Have we not, with the 17th century poet William Wordsworth, sensed something that disturbs us with joy, of elevated thoughts, of something far more deeply interfused, whose life is the light of setting suns and the round ocean and the air and all that we have come to experience? Julian of Norwich, the 14th century Christian mystic, discerned this stunning insight. We are not just made by God. We are made of God. We are not just fashioned afar by a distant creator. We are born from the very womb of the divine. And over the years in our own sacred texts, the Spirit has been revealing that we are deeply connected to what Barbara Brown Taylor describes as whirlwinds, starry skies, burning bushes, and perfect strangers. And President Prophet Steve Veazey describes as something not fully explainable, but utterly transforming. In Doctrine and Covenants, section 90, we find this moving insight. The elements are eternal, and spirit and element inseparably connected receive a fullness of joy. Julian goes on to say the love longings of God are at the heart of our being. We and all things have come forth from the one. Deep within us are holy, natural longings for oneness, primal, sacred drives for union. And she goes on to say, we may live in tragic exile from these longings, or we may have spent a whole lifetime not knowing how to truly satisfy them. But they are there at the heart of our being waiting to be born afresh. And probing a little deeper into the interconnected nature of reality, the interconnected nature of God. Brian Swim, an evolutionary cosmologist, calls it the urge to merge. I love it. The urge to merge. It is a desire for oneness that was implicit in the universe's beginnings. Everything has a yearning to move in relationship. The earth has been revolving around the sun for 4.5 billion years. I think we could probably describe that as a long-term, stable relationship. It is a love affair. And we have been born of that love affair. The urge to merge, the impulse to move in relationship with is at the heart of our identity and calling as community of Christ in the world today. In Doctrine and Covenants, section 163:1, an amazing revelatory text in the life of the church says, if you will discern and embrace its full meaning, you will not only discover your future, you will, what's the theme for today? Become a blessing to the whole of creation. Do not be afraid to go where it beckons you to go. We live in this age of amazing technology. I'm talking to some of you today who are joining us by Zoom. We can connect with people all over the planet instantaneously. And yet, there is an epidemic of loneliness sweeping the globe. And it seems the potential of loving and interdependent relationships remains the last great unexplored frontier of mission. Friends, I believe there is a longing, a deep yearning for something real that provides a sense of connection and belonging and hope in an uncertain world. And there's longing for connection with others who are looking for that very same thing. Because more than anyone, more than anything, no one wants to walk life's journey alone. This is what Julian of Norwich referred to as natural longings for oneness. And every now and then we experience glimpses of this kind of loving community. Have you not at times experienced it? And when we do, it is like dipping into a well of living water. I remember such an experience on Easter morning in 2016 in Carlsbad, California, at our congregation that meets in the park there each week. After sharing in a weekly free-for-all, do you know what that is? A free-for-all is a thing they do where it's like a free garage sale. So people can come and just come get what you need. So after their weekly free-for-all meal and time of fellowship in the park, Kenny stood up that morning to share his good news. Now, at first, I did not recognize Kenny. The scraggly beard was gone. His hair was combed and he had clean clothes on. He stood up straight and he looked across the congregation with a wide grin and said, "Today I am 45 days sober." Now, this congregation comprised mostly of folks without homes, those struggling with addictions, and just really a small group of Community of Christ folks erupted in applause and celebration. It was ruckus. There was some spirit stuff going on in that congregation, and people felt it and they sensed it, and the presence of community was powerfully with us. Now, let's be clear, though. It was Easter Sunday, and I was the one that was supposed to be giving witness to the resurrection, but Kenny beat me to it. Jesus had risen indeed, and Kenny was proof that new life was possible, even in the seeming most unexpected places, and sometimes the most hopeless of circumstances. And you know what? Kenny only made it a few more weeks before he had a relapse. But that little congregation in the park in Carlsbad, California, loved him through every relapse that he had. And here's what's so significant. If you talk to Kenny, he no longer walks the road alone. And while Kenny shared that day, I remember just sitting there being overcome with the same spirit that Jesus promised his followers. And I saw a glimpse of God's preferred future, not the perfect life, freedom from difficulty, or a life of certainty, but the messiness of life lived out in the transforming power of loving and authentic Christian community. This is real and authentic faith. That's why I'm here today sharing with you, because it's transformed my life. Since our inception, we have been exploring and experimenting with a big idea. The idea that authentic and loving, Christ-centered communities can transform us and transform our world. And this transformative potential of loving community is the most compelling aspect of the gospel. And it's always been at the heart of our movement, the cause of Zion, the peaceful reign of Christ. And it's why Jesus told his disciples in John that loving one another would be their primary witness to the world. This desire for oneness was in Jesus' last words in his moving prayer. I ask not only on behalf of these, but also on behalf of all those who believe in me through their word, that they may all be one. And so this is precisely the transformative experience that motivates Kenny to keep trying to be sober. He's been seen and known as he truly is, loved unconditionally, and he knows it. And it's changed everything. Friends, I believe the Spirit has been striving with us to reveal a hopeful future that will be discovered in our identity and calling first as communities, relational expressions of divine love where we have genuinely human encounters with one another just as we are and as we are becoming. And our gift to one another and the world is the offering of our authentic selves. All the messiness, all the imperfections. And if my wife were here today, she could tell you about all mine. Amid all the images and messages that we're receiving today in the world that suggest we're never good enough. But we are. And it's all that we've ever been asked to do in our willingness to surprise an unexpected stranger with a simple invitation to a conversation, to be seen, to be heard, to be noticed, and then to loving community where we live the powerful words contained in the hymn, We Are Pilgrims on a Journey. Listen to these words. I could spend the rest of my day trying to figure out how do we live this out? I will hold the Christ light for you in the nighttime of your fear. I will hold my hand out to you. Speak the peace you long to hear. I will laugh when you are laughing and weep when you weep. I will share your joy and sorrow till we've seen this journey through. You know, Doctrine and Covenants has this 164.9, this one sentence in it that I think is profound. By the grace of God, you are poised to fulfill God's ultimate vision for the church. I've come to understand how true this is as we live fully into our identity and calling as loving, inviting communities that simply break bread and share life and walk the path of discipleship together with all of its joys and uncertainties and questions and possibilities for our future. I'm not sure sometimes if we realize how transformative this experience can be in the life of someone who is yearning for meaning and connection. As Jeff Spencer reminds us in his book, A Brightness of Hope, with all due respect for our past, I believe we are not a once upon a time movement, but an Advent movement, living in constant imagination and expectation of the future that is about to unfold. What this means in practical terms is that each individual, each congregation, and the church as a whole will constantly ask the question, what marvelous work is about to come forth for me or for us? What marvelous work is about to come forth in you and me and all of us together as we risk living fully into our identity and calling as community of Christ and seek to become a blessing to the whole creation. God, where is your Spirit leading today? Help me be fully awake and ready to respond. Grant me courage to risk something new and become a blessing of your love and peace. May we be fully awake and ready to respond to the marvelous work that is awaiting us in the future.